Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lads. Thank you, little lads. You're delicious and bright. Oh, yes, they are. Can you see how light they are, my delicious little babies? I've just changed the batteries. Okay, Duracell. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, so what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So it's nearly 5 to 12 in our old England. So it's nearly midday, my delicious little babies. We do have some blue sky, more than usual. And we've got some not so very nice white fluffy clouds, okay? The wind is rather strong. I mean, you couldn't sort of compare it to, say, America, with really bad winds and everything, you know what I mean? But nevertheless, it is blowing, for our standards in our old England, it's blowing rather strongly. Okay, my delicious baby, so it's a bit chillier today. So that's the weather forecast and it's dry. But it's a bit chilly, like I said. Now then, my delicious baby, so I've got some videos, okay? I had another video that I was uploading yesterday. It just took hours upon hours upon hours to upload my delicious babies, and in the end, I got peed off. And I just, there we are, just stopped it, just deleted it, okay? Because it was just taking hours, upon hours, upon hours, upon hours. Do you know what I mean? My delicious babies, so that doesn't mean no, just got an itch. So, yeah, so this is what's happening. Anyway, you know what, my delicious babies, I'm just not going to keep going on about it, really, okay? Because it just does me boxing. So, and I woke up in a super duper and delicious mood today, my delicious babies. Now then, so let's have a look, shall we? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 6 today, my delicious little babies, okay? And no, that's not coding, okay, my delicious little babies. So let's get to the first one, shall we? So this was actually uploaded, my delicious little babies. They're all on YouTube, sorry, my delicious little babies, all barring one, which is, we got one that's on Odyssey, my delicious little babies. I shouldn't even have to look, actually, because, I wrote it out this morning, my delicious little babies, but I shouldn't even have to look because I've already looked at the video. Now then, so this first one, 5 years ago, it was uploaded onto YouTube. Happens to have, is it 57.2 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? I'm pretty sure it's 57.2 because I never put the dot there. Anyway, my delicious little babies, so capital M for mother, med, laugh, so it's all one word, med laugh, space, capital C, crisis. Okay, so that's the upload of my delicious little babies. It just happened to come up on my feed. Okay, so I was not seeking it out. It appeared there, my delicious little babies. Now then, yeah, interesting. The video should read, I think it's only about, is it about 30 minutes long, something like that. The video should read the title, The Epidemic of Fake Disease. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? The Epidemic of Fake Disease. Yes, my delicious little babies, okay, so I would strongly suggest, if you can, to please take a listen, to this video, my delicious little babies, if you can, okay, because, you see, for myself, I had to do my own research, okay, my delicious little babies, because for myself, my beautiful little Ruby Tuesday, I think it's got to be about, how many years ago now? Is it about 3 years ago or something? Anyway, because she could be really heavy-footed, can my beautiful little Ruby Tuesday, you know, my little Springer Spaniel, bless her. And when she jumps on me on the bed, okay, my delicious little babies, she bumped my chest, Okay, my delicious little babies. I do not feel that it is really recovered. Okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, I went through this stage. I thought, what am I going to do? You know, if, do you know what I mean? Anyway, I was never really one for giving to charities, if you know what I mean. My delicious little babies. Anyway, but there we are, had to do my own research. There we are, my delicious little babies, to do with this particular what I'm talking about, my delicious little babies, okay? And once I'd read it all, I thought, yes, I thought this makes complete, there we are, sense. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Then, of course, I went on, you know, and, you know, then I was told something, but my beautiful, dear little spirit guides, there we are, directed me, there we are, what to eat. Okay, there we are, my delicious little babies, they did. Okay, so at the end of the day, you know, because of, you know, what's going into our systems and, you know, things like this now then, okay, my delicious little babies, which of course is none of our faults. It is certain who wish to, there we are, to poison the world, my delicious little babies, there we are, in any which way they can. So I had to find other ways, my delicious little babies, there we are, do you know what I mean, okay? But this video, the reason why I've mentioned it, there we are, is because it's very, there we are, important in my view, okay, my delicious little babies. It'll be most likely a one-off. So I really just do not feel that I'll be mentioning this uploader again, my delicious little babies, but I feel that this is enough. Okay, my delicious little babies, yes. I do not know, because it's at 57.2, so it does not seem to have gone up unless they may have needed to open up maybe another channel, you know, because they probably had their say to do with not so many years ago, my delicious little babies, if you get my meaning. Anyway, but I haven't looked into it. I'll probably have to click back on to just to see when, you know, if they posted any other videos, because I never personally looked at my delicious little babies, to be perfectly honest with you. No, I didn't. Anyway, so the next one, my delicious little babies, is this is Shady Share. Now, I do mention him from time to time, okay, my delicious little babies. Capital S in the old space bar in old YouTube, my delicious little babies. SHADY, and then Shay, which is capital space, capital S, SHAE. Shady Share. Okay, my delicious little babies is now up to 1 million. Good on ya, Shady Share. He's hit his millionaire subscribers, my delicious little babies, because that's what he wanted, bless him, okay? Anyway, and, you know, because I've advertised him from time to time as well, my delicious, there we are, little babies, okay? Now then, you know, so there we are. Right, now then, my delicious little babies. So this video should read, black and white, unite. Okay, my delicious little babies. The UK media won't show you this free speech. Okay, my delicious little babies. So that video there, I think that was only with Shadies. I think that was only about, I don't know, is it about 15 or 20 minutes long? I've looked at that many videos, my delicious little babies, honestly, to me flipping hours go square, you know what I mean? But yes, yeah, so what Shady's showing, my delicious little babies, is because we had a protest at the weekend in our old England, my delicious little babies, okay, you know, where everybody's walking in one direction. Okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, it was a very, very, very super duper colossal, there we are, turnout in our old England, my delicious little babies, in London. Okay, my delicious little babies. And Shady Share was going around, you know, asking questions and so forth, okay? Yeah, well, worse, that doesn't mean just got another itch, you know, and another itch. Well, the thing is, my delicious little babies, it's good to look at these, okay, so that, you know, you can form your own opinions, or, you know, what your views are, my delicious little babies, anyway. So that's that. So well done, Shady. rock on, Tommy, hitting you 1 million, okay? Because, you know, for some uploaders, they've been doing this for years and years and years. And of course, as what I would always say, knowledge, there we are, is power, you know what I mean? So if you are listening to some channels and they're giving out, there we are, ding, ding, dong, dong, common sense, and they're showing you videos and they're, you know, discussing common sense topics and subjects, well, you know, it's only right that their channels should build. There we are. My delicious little babies. So myself, I'm happy. There we are, where I am. There we are. I'm very happy where I am. Okay, my delicious little babies. I do not want any more subscribers, and that's no disrespect to any subscribers that I already have, but I'm happy the way I am. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies. I just give out the information as long as others, because there's always someone who's hearing, there's always somebody who's seeing my delicious little babies. Okay, so as long as somebody, you know, can hear, you know, there may be videos that they have not seen. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so as long as the information that I give out, you know, gets out. So it's not about myself building subscribers. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to deliver the information. That's it. I do it as a hobby. Okay, my delicious babies. But for ones who want to earn, let's just say, a very comfortable, there we are, living, my delicious babies. Well, you know, I always say about any uploader, there we are, bless them, and may they be blessed. There we are, with lots of views and lots of subscribers, if that is what they want. Okay, my delicious little babies. I just like to see ones thrive and, there we are, and survive, my delicious little babies. There we are. That's all I enjoy seeing. Okay. Now then, so that's that one. Next one. Okay, so this one here happens to have 349,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies, on old YouTube. And the uploader, sorry, is called capital T in the old space bar, the space, capital D, Dick, space, capital C, is it Cavet? Yes, capital C, sorry, my delicious babies, just trying to read me own writing, Cavet. So it's CAVET, then space, capital S, sure. Okay, my delicious babies, so you should read in the old space bar, once typed in, the Dick Cavett Show. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, this is an older, there we are, video. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, it's not very long. I think it's about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes long. It's not long at all, my delicious little babies. Okay. And the video should read, Enoch Powell responds to being called a racist. Okay, my delicious little babies. That just happened to come up on my feed. My delicious little babies, just another one. So I'll just repeat that again for you, shall I? Enoch Powell responds to being called a racist. Okay, my delicious babies. Well, sorry, excuse me. For myself personally, my delicious babies, I mean, I'm entitled to my view. I'm a woman with a view. I shall have, there we are, my effing view. And I do not believe one bit that Enoch Powell was racist. No, I do not. Okay? But of course, because he did that famous speech, well, I mean, there we are, seen that years ago, my delicious little babies, okay? Anybody else has seen that video, okay? The fact of the matter is, it then got, you know, tarnished, shall we say, with that name. Okay, my delicious little babies. But the fact of the matter is that he's explaining here why he's not a racist, my delicious little babies, okay? So for anybody who happens to have an interest, it's well worth, you just have to join the dot, you see, that's all. Okay, my delicious, there we are, little babies, okay? So came up, you know, but I wonder what Enoch Powell would be sparing a thought for now, in spirit. And not only that, but something else I wish to say is that Enoch Powell, he was actually a very spiritual man. There we are, he was. He was very spiritual. He went off his, you know, like how I do, you know, with my spirit guards and things. Enoch Powell, there we are, was also very spiritual. Okay, my delicious little babies. So, you know, I should imagine that you know, his spirit guards, you know, worked with him a lot of the time, especially when he was in a putrid flipping government. My delicious little babies. Anyway, so that's that one. Now the next one, my delicious little babies, okay. This here is called capital capital M for mother, capital G for Gertie. So Oscar, mother, Gertie. Okay, my delicious little babies, space exploring, capital E exploring. That's in your space bar. Should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, my delicious little babies? What's that? Do you remember that song? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh my God. Do you remember that song, my delicious little babies? You have to remember the year of the song, you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, anyway. And the video should read Tommy Robinson. It did have some other bits. I just never added them on my delicious little babies. This upload happens to have 1.73 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. Okay. Now this video here, okay, I think it was about, was it 16 point so many minutes long, my delicious little babies. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this is the video where we've seen that putrid piece of shit, Elon Musk, my delicious little babies, on a great big colossal screen, my delicious little babies, okay? And what was even worse to see, and again, this is to do with the protest that's just gone, my delicious little babies, on Saturday, the 13th of September, 2025. What was even worse was to see a lot of the crowd. I was there we are, before I even say it, I was very disappointed, actually, at how many were cheering, yes, at that putrid piece of shit, Elon Musk. Okay, my delicious babies. And you could just see he was feeding them, man. Feeding them. Feeding the crowds. Oh, well, if you have to fart, then you have to fart. It's like he's feeding them. Well, we're not in America, my delicious babies. And to be perfectly honest, poor America, there we are, for the Americans. I'm not talking about the poxy putrid governments. I'm talking about the poor Americans. They're going through, there we are, plenty sharts. So they have shat in their own country. We've all got shat in our countries, my delicious babies. But you know what's going on. No thanks to our putrid effing governments. But the fact of the matter is, excuse me, my delicious babies, because I've had my breakfast, you say. I've had a cheese and egg wrap. Okay, my delicious babies, and I'm just having some orange juice, and I've had my coffee, so there we are. But please excuse me, my delicious little babies. Anyway, I hope that you couldn't hear that on the camera. The thing is this, it's like he's goading, do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? You know, it's like, you know, when somebody, it's like goading, but then there we are, yeah, this is the best way for me to explain it, right? But then egging one's on. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? Because if you look at the word goading, it means you're goading somebody to do something, aren't you, my delicious babies? And then, of course, you know, you're egging them on. And that's what I was seeing, my delicious babies, on this video. No, that is not the right way, you know. So if you have to fart, you have to fart. You need to, please and thank you, my delicious babies, please to watch this video, okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, if he's in America, then he should damn well stay in America, not stick his foot into our pond. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But then he rambled on about, you know, that, you know, he's got some form of English roots or whatever, you know what I mean, okay? Well, it still does not mean that he should be on a great big screen and for our populations, for who were there, bless them, right? That at the end of the day, that they should be, there we are, taken in, there we are, and brainwashed by somebody who's certainly not on their side. My delicious little babies, do you see what I'm saying? Yes? Okay? But well worth a watch of that. And like I say, I mean, with Tommy Robinson, I mean, yes, I mean, I've watched plenty, just joining the dots. You know, I watch plenty videos on Tommy Robinson, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you understand what I mean? And I'm not saying that at times it doesn't make sense, because he does. However, I will also say that he's clearly, I don't know, working for somebody. There we are, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. Anyway, but the turnout, you know, with both these videos, Share the Shares and OMG Exploring, it was very colossal, My Delicious Little Babies, okay? But I did hear that our putrid, you know, the mainstream My Delicious Little Babies were calling the ones, you know, far right. And, you know, we're just, to be honest with you, My Delicious Little Babies, you're just sick and tired of hearing this shout, left, right, left, backwards, forwards, back. There we are, just fed up of listening to this shout, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes? Okay? But whenever you get to a protest anyway, I always say, you know, they know, they get to see your birth trace. There we are, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay? Then they decide to, there we are, to cherry pick. But I do believe, I mean, I've never seen any bother with the old Bill, My Delicious Little Babies, okay? I've never seen any bother, not on these videos anyway. But the old Bill, they wouldn't have been able to do anything anyway. My Delicious Little Babies are totally, there we are, outnumbered by thousands upon thousands. My Delicious Little Babies, do you know what I mean? Okay, so that's that. Now then, the next one, My Delicious Little Babies, this one here is on old YouTube. Now, occasionally I do mention them. I mentioned them actually the other day, I do believe. I'd need to go back on my book, My Delicious Little Babies, you know. This uploader happens to have 1.51 million subscribers, My Delicious Little Babies, okay? And they are called Trigonometry. Now, for many of you, My Delicious Little Babies, you may very well have heard of trigonometry, but for others of our Delicious Little Babies, they may not have heard of trigonometry. And this video should read, and it's about an hour and 15 minutes long, My Delicious Little Babies, and it should read, the technology war you don't know about. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies, so I'm just going to give out what the title's called. Again, My Delicious Little Babies, the technology war you don't know about. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. Declan Ganley. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. So Trigonometry are interviewing a man called Declan Ganley. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. Now then, so he's explaining about that there's a very strong, just draw a line there, that there's a very strong possibility of, let's just say, one's not been able to use the internet, okay? Now, for myself, personally, I heard on our lovely, not in that way, our lovely, the Charlie Ward show, okay, My Delicious Little Babies, but you see, I'd heard this, when was it now? Was it 2020 I heard it? I'm pretty sure I heard it then, My Delicious Little Babies, yeah? And, you know, Charlie, bless him. Oh, I hope his dear little self and his dear little family's all well, My Delicious Little Babies. He's got throat trouble again, My Delicious Little Babies. I hope you get better, dear Charlie, and I hope that dear Charlie and your dear family, friends and everything, and, you know, are all well, okay? And I hope your voice gets better. Yeah, because he was such a great help with the old pandemic and everything, My Delicious Little Babies. He really, really was, you know. I mean, he hit, what was it, in 1 year? 17 million who were listening to him, My Delicious Little Babies. So he was very, very colossal. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. And furthermore, is that he got threatened himself, My Delicious Little Babies, but he wasn't bothered by it anyway. Do you understand what I mean, My Delicious Little Babies? But he was threatened, you know. Anybody who spoke up, there we are, about anything was threatened. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies anyway. And he was talking about this all that long time back. Yes, he was. And he's also talked plenty about, and so has our lovely Not In That Way, Not In That Way, our lovely David Ark. They've talked a lot about the, to do with this as well. Who else has spoken about that? Was it Mark Steele? He's called Save Us Now, spaces on Substack, Mardlish Babies, Mark Steele, with an E on the end. So it's Steele. Okay, Mardlish Babies, I'm pretty sure was Mark talking about that, was it? Anyway, he's really good, Mark Steele, as well, because he's explaining about this, these weapons, what I mean, Mardlish Babies, that they've got against us, okay, Mardlish Babies, okay? But who talked a lot about the quantum as well was Jason Q. Oh, he was banging as well, Jason Q. Okay, Martin Lichtlich Babies, yeah. I used to really love it when Dear Charlie and Dear Jason, Not In That Way, Not In That Way, when they used to come on their videos together. Do you know what I mean? It was really, really good to listen to Martin Lichtlich Babies, you know what I mean? I wish that they'd get him back on, I haven't seen it, haven't seen Jason Q forever. Haven't seen him for quite a while now. But yeah, we are full of knowledge. There are so much knowledge, honestly. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies car. But they were talking about all this long time back. Years back, my delicious little babies car. And dear Charlie, bless him, he was told that something was going to happen even years before that. My delicious little babies, yeah. Rather, was it about 10 years before? Yeah. Okay, my delicious baby, something like that. Anyway, but yeah, it was really good to listen to, and it really helped so many, just like our lovely David Icke and our lovely UK column, Not In That Way, Not In That Way with any of them. But yes, it's like they were just such a wonderful and beautiful gift. Do you know what I mean? Because it was keeping ones who otherwise, not meaning this nastily, would have gone stir crazy. It was keeping them with a level head, do you know what I mean? So that there wasn't as frightened, if you know what I mean. So for that, I feel that everybody should really, there we are, thank them for that. My delicious babies, each and every one of them. Do you see what I mean, okay? So bless them all. Anyway, and so getting back to this now then. So yeah, and what this video is about and what Declan's talking about, okay, as he's the guest, is that the internet could go off even, there we are, for as long as 6 months. So what he's saying is that one should really, okay, he seems to know about a number of things. Me personally, I've never seen him before, and if I have, I'm not being nasty. I really haven't paid that much attention. And I'm just being honest, my delicious baby. So that's not to be nasty to Declan Ganley. No, that's his name, Ganley, yes. But that's what he's talking about. And he was also talking about all the court cases. He was talking about China and, talking about all this mad that we are, my delicious babies. It's well worth listening to that video. The only part that I would disagree with, like, towards the end is where Declan said that, our countries, Martin babies, that we need migrants. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, Martin babies, we do not need any more migrants. But when he said that all the countries need migrants, I'm not really going to fully agree with that part, my delicious babies. But for the rest of the video, okay, my delicious babies, I agreed with listening to the video. It was very interesting to listen to. Do you know what I mean? And I did agree with the fact, because China, and the things that they're doing now, like there we are, like this is not his words, his man, copying and everything. You know what I mean? My delicious babies, yeah. But he had a lot of going back, a lot of lawsuits in America, born in the USA, yeah, to do China, you know what I mean? And just take you, like that. Okay, my delicious babies, but yeah. So really, the part where he said about, what you're going to do for that 6 months, so you have to get prepared. Okay, so what he's saying is he was not fear-mongering, but I already know this because I heard years back, like I just said, with our dear Charlie, the Charlie Ward Show, Mad Delicious Babies, which they are on Rumble, and plus he has his own website. Okay, Mad Delicious Babies, but they'd mentioned it years back. Okay, and you know, of course, our lovely David Icke's mentioned it for years and years. Do you see what I mean? Okay. But it is very, very true. I mean, if you look at it, Mad Dog and Burn, that I'm talking to yourselves in Mad Delicious Little Babies, and thank you for any views, for any likes, and for the occasional comments. Well, anyway, and bless you, how I love you all so. But it is very true. I mean, look how many use technology, computers, laptops, iPads, iPhones, Androids. Look at the amount of technology. So if you never had the internet, what about your internet banking, everything? Do you see what I mean, Mad Delicious Little Babies? Okay, so this is, there we are, very serious. And of course, you know, there's only certain in the world who can put, there we are, let's just say this situation correct. You know, I think Germany is a very good country for doing that, Mad Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay, but it could take months. So it is true, you know, one should really, you know, spare a thought if the internet was not there, Mad Delicious Little Babies, okay? Because you wouldn't be able to see myself, or I wouldn't be able to see any other uploaders, wouldn't be able to look for any information. What about banks? Mad Delicious Little Babies? Because they use computers, don't they, Mad Delicious Little Babies? Do you see what I mean? Okay, so if you really look at it, there it is, very serious. So yeah, and they talk about the quantum, like I said, but to go into the quantum system, see what it is. It's a different system. There we are. Okay, Mad Delicious Little Babies. What it is. It's really. It's one of those topics. There we are. It is a bit very long-winded to explain. Okay, Mad Delicious Little Babies. Okay, so he never really spent that much time talking about the quantum. Okay, Mad Delicious Little Babies. But of course, the reason why I clicked on the video is because I wanted to hear what he was saying and to do the internet and that. Okay, so yes, you know, what about ones who they might have family abroad? Okay, Mad Delicious Little Babies. What about if somebody needs to contact one of their family members or one of their friends? Well, if you haven't got a dog and burn, you know, unless you got one of these little 20 ka-ching, 20 squid dog and burns, Mad Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay, but there wouldn't be any internet at all. I mean, if you look at it, for many, I should imagine that would be a rather, there we are, very frightening thoughts, Mad Delicious Little Babies. Anyway, so finally, and then I'm going to be over and out. Now then, Mad Delicious Little Babies. So this is on Odyssey. Sorry, excuse me. ODYSEE, Odyssey, Mad Delicious Little Babies. I usually type it into DuckDuckGo, okay? But of course, you can use the search engine of your choice. And this uploader, bless, is up to, not in that way, up to 2,031 subscribers, Mad Delicious Little Babies. So we need to get these numbers up, you know. Mad Delicious Little Babies, okay? You'll also be able to find ours is watching. I do mention him sometimes, Mad Delicious Little Babies. Steve, bless him, not in that way. I do mention him sometimes, Mad Delicious Little Babies. And the video should read on Odyssey. All you have to type in is ours is watching. Search engine of your choice, Mad Delicious Little Babies, and then you'll see it. If you do not see it straight away, Odyssey, then please just type in ours is watching, you know, 3 words together. There's no G on the end of watching, and then space Odyssey, and then you'll be, you know, on his channel then, Mad Delicious Little Babies. And anyway, and the video should read, ours is watching, hashtag 195. Charlie Kirk, assassination, PSYOP, frenzy, and the study, they don't want seen. Okay, my delicious little babies. This video, it's a rather long one for Steve, actually, because his videos are usually just over an hour long, but this one is an hour and 35 minutes, my delicious little babies can. So I'll just read it again for you. Ours is watching, hashtag 195, Charlie Kirk assassination, PSYOP, frenzy, and study they don't want seen. Yes, my delicious little babies. So he's giving his take in how he sees it. Because now we've just got to close our book. We need to go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies. And what he's talking about is that that doesn't mean no. What he's talking about, my delicious little babies, is how he sees it and everything that's happened. There we are in the space of 1 week, my delicious little babies, okay? But then he's also talking about, like others, like our lovely David Ark and his lovely dear little sons, Gareth and Jamie, and their lovely dear friend Richard, not in that way with anybody. And, that there's other things that we are going on behind the curtain, shall we say, my delicious little babies. But it's very interesting to listen to different ones' views. There we are on, let's just say, the recent... that doesn't mean no. The recent goings on, my delicious little babies, do you see what I mean? Anyway, so that's the end of my video. So wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. And how I love you all so. Please take care of yourselves now and please try to take care of others. If it's raining, it's raining. It's not only is it super duper windy, but it's peeing down as well, my delicious little babies, okay? Shows the state of our affairs in our old England, doesn't it, my delicious little babies, with our putrid governments now. Do you see what I mean, okay? So yeah, it's just worth sparing a thought about my delicious little babies. So if you never had the internet, what would you do? This again, my delicious little babies, there we are, comes as well down to being in, in your area where you live, in being in communities, and things like this now then, so that you can help, there we are, one another. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But I'm pretty sure that for most, they would be absolutely super duper lost without the internet, my delicious little babies. I mean, I look at the internet a lot. But no, I could, live without it, read some books and, and things like this. There we are. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But it will not sit correctly with everybody, my delicious little babies. It's not like one size fits all, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean, okay? So that's the video, my delicious little babies. But no, we do not need any more migrants, no. And your man there, he did say, Declan, he did say something else just before I go, my delicious little babies. It looks like a handle, that, doesn't it? One large handle. See what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, it's like a C spelt backwards. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, so, yeah. So, I was going to say, begins with a C, Anyway, my delicious little babies, yes, okay. The next letter would be a U. Okay, my delicious little babies, anyway. That's not to you, my delicious little babies, okay. We could probably say that about ones running our country, my delicious little babies, anyway. The point that I'm going to say as well, what Declan said, is where he said that, you get your genuine, who come into our country because they need the help. Well, of course, after our old England, it's not us personally, it's our putrid government, after themselves in America have decided that we are to join forces to bomb other countries, you know what I mean, okay? Well, to be perfectly honest with you, really, the best thing to do would be to help these dear families who've had to leave their countries, my delicious little babies, but it's no thanks to our putrid governments. Do you see what I'm saying? There we are. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, yes, okay. But what he's saying is that these ones, who are coming over, these single men now, young men, that they're taking a space which would otherwise be for a genuine family. There we are. And I totally agreed with every word he said there, which is true. I know families who, bless the beautiful dear little souls, not in that way, not in that way, who've had to come from their own country, because they genuinely needed, to move somewhere so that they were safe. So there we are. So I got that. But this is what's cheesing everybody else off, is because the others are coming over, but they do not realise, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? I've said this before, that they too, there we are used, there we are, in the system as well, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So that's all I have to say, okay? I mean, there's some who take full advantage of it, and there's others where maybe they realise that it's not all sugar and honey in this country is what they thought it was, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so it's a very, what's going on at the moment, my delicious little babies, there we are. It's very, very mixed up, my delicious little babies. Other countries, there we are, as well, are going through it as well. Okay, my delicious little babies. So you just take care now. Thank you once again for listening, okay? And bless you. And how I love you also, okay? I hope that you found the videos, there we are, interesting, my delicious little babies. And if you do happen to click on those videos and you do happen to find them most informative, very informative, could you please pass them on? That's the only thing that I ask my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So you just take care now. So very much love. Thank you once again for listening. Goodbye.